If you want to make money online and become an entrepreneur, then you have to have a very, very low carb, basically zero carb, keto/carnivore diet. And to back myself up with that, I'm currently 15, making almost $1.5 grand per month online. And I've been on this diet for about 3 weeks so far, and it has massively helped me. I'm just saying that now to back myself up because there are so many kids on the internet that will give you information, yet they've done nothing with their life. So I'm just showing you now, I have done something with my life. I am successful in this. You want to be like me. I'm basically in the position you want to be at, and so it is logical for you to listen to me. This video isn't like most of the videos on YouTube. This video is here to actually help you and to actually help you start making progress. So don't treat it like some other random video that you're going to just click off. Okay, put this on full screen. Yeah, stop looking at the comments or whatever. Put this on full screen. Okay, get some notes out. Actually start making notes on this because this video will help you, so take it seriously if you actually want to make progress with this. I already know you are going to relate to what I'm about to say. There have been so many times in my life where I've sat down to try and get some work done and nothing has happened. Because I won't be able to focus. I'd just sit down to get some work done, and then my mind will go somewhere else, and it goes somewhere else, and I'll switch tasks. I'll do this, do that. And I was just like, why? Why can't I actually get stuff done? Why can't I just be like ultra disciplined, ultra productivity, and just get stuff done at a really, really fast rate? And at first, I didn't actually think it was my diet originally, because I was like, okay, I don't eat chocolate, I don't eat cake, I barely even eat any sugar whatsoever. I exercise, I'm healthy, I have good sleep, I have good whatever. And I was confident that it wasn't my diet because I was like, yes, I don't actually eat that unhealthily. But then I learned what carbohydrates, carbs, actually do to your brain, and it is scary, and I'm about to explain all the bro science to you. So again, you can make notes on this if you want to actually understand it, because I know you're probably quite intellectual for watching this video. So if you actually want to understand the why behind carbs make your brain really slow and give you loads of brain fog, then I'll explain it now. When you eat carbohydrates, your body digests that into sugar, into glucose. If you don't already know, sugar is actually a carbohydrate, and carbohydrates and sugars are really, really similar. They're both like short-term energy. Basically, sugar is like really short-term, like really high bursts of energy, and carbohydrate is like slightly more longer-term energy, but it's still like really short-term energy, if that makes sense. Whereas like fats and proteins, they're much, much longer-term energy. And so fats and carbs, they give you less energy per second, if that makes sense. They give you less energy per unit of time, but it's spread out more. And so when you eat carbs and your body digests them, it produces glucose, which is basically just sugar, okay? And now glucose is actually really good for you when you want to exercise. So when you want loads of energy, and maybe you're going to do a sprint, maybe you're going to do some big run or something like that, and you want loads of energy for your physical body, for your muscles, that's when you have carbs, okay? Because it really helps your body. It's really good for your body's energy levels. But glucose and sugar is not good for your brain at all. Glucose and sugar is probably basically the worst like fuel that your brain can run off. It gives you brain fog, it means you're less focused, and you just can't work properly when your brain is running off like carbs, basically. Fats, however, when you digest fats, it produces something called ketones. Now ketones, they aren't the best for your muscular performance, okay? They're not the best for exercising, they're not the best for having loads of energy. They still do give you a good amount of energy when you're exercising. You know, when people go for runs and stuff, they're trying to burn fat. That's basically them saying, okay, I want my body to use ketones, because ketones comes from fat. So your body still can run pretty well on ketones. It just can't run as well. But then for your brain, ketones are actually like the best energy source for your brain, okay? Because again, I don't know why they're the best. I don't know why sugar's bad for your brain and why ketones are good for your brain. But all I know is when you eat a high fat and low carbs, basically your energy is like purely ketones. Your energy is basically purely fat. And then that means your brain is just basically running off energy from fat. You might have tried like waking up and not eating and then working before you eat, if that makes sense, and trying to get some deep working before you eat, intermittent fasting like that. And you might realize that when you haven't eaten for a while, your brain is actually really sharp. Now, it isn't actually because you haven't eaten that your brain's sharp when you've done this intermittent fasting. It's actually because you haven't had carbs in a while, which then means your brain is running on ketones. So to condense this down, when you eat carbs, your energy for your body will be a decent bit higher. Yeah, not actually that much higher, but a decent bit higher. But your brain performance will be much, much lower, okay? Because your brain doesn't run on sugar that well, glucose that well, I mean. When you eat fats, however, and you have a high fat diet, your body is running on ketones, and ketones are still pretty decent for your body's muscles and energy levels. But for your brain, it's so much better, okay? For your brain, ketones are so much better. So essentially, you want a low carb, high fat diet. Now, you might be thinking right now, well, okay, I don't actually have that much brain fog. My brain is pretty focused. I don't actually need much improvement to my brain. Let me tell you, bro, you're wrong, because I thought the exact same thing, and I was wrong too. You see, you've lived with this brain fog from the carbs, the brain fog the carbs give you. You've lived with it your entire life because you've eaten carbs your entire life. And so you do not realize how much brain fog you actually have. Because let me just say this, when I got onto this diet about 3 weeks ago, after about a week, I was genuinely crazy about how well my brain was working, about how little brain fog I had. It just it sounds stupid, But once I stopped eating carbs, it's just like my brain worked 10 times better, okay? I was able to script videos, like record like this, like so much easier. Like right now recording, this doesn't even feel like a task for me. I feel happy right now recording this, and that's because I don't have like any stupid brain fog. So essentially, you want to eat very, very little carbs and eat way, way more fats and proteins too. Protein doesn't really have any effect on your energy levels or your brain really. It's kind of just for building muscle. That's what protein is. But essentially, high fat, low carb diet. That's what a keto diet is, okay? And you might hear the resemblance, ketones, keto diet. And what I mean by low carbs is basically like less than 30 grams of carbs per day. I'm currently on about 20 grams of carbs per day on average. Some days it goes up to 40, some days it stays down on like 5 or less even. But on average, I'm on about 20 grams of carbs per day. Basically, the less carbs you have, the better it is for your brain. Now, you might be kind of like, okay, but you need carbs to survive, don't you? That's what you might have been told from a very young age. You don't actually need carbs to survive. I mean, just look at me. I'm not eating carbs. I'm surviving just fine. I'm actually better off without carbs. You only really need fats and proteins to actually survive. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but won't I get really, really fat if I eat loads of fat again? Common misconception. You don't actually get fat when you eat loads of fat. Sorry, I was wrong there. If you eat lots of fat and you don't exercise, then yes, you will become fat because that fat you eat will become fat on your body. But because you eat loads and loads of fat, your body basically gets used to digesting fat and using fat for energy. And so when you do exercise, your body, instead of using carbohydrates and sugar for energy, your body will use your fat reserves, the physical fat on your body, as energy, which means you'll actually end up losing fat if you actually have a high fat diet. This is what a keto diet is. It sounds stupid, but eating more fat will actually help you to lose fat if you exercise. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but don't I need carbs to bulk and for the gym to actually build muscle? Well, yes, carbs will help you to build like maybe 15% more muscle. They don't actually have that much of a massive impact. I mean, I'm not having carbs right now and I'm still making gains just as fast as I was before. But again, the science just show that if you actually have carbs, you will slowly, you will basically get like 15% more muscle. But then let me ask you, what is more important to you right now? Being a couple pounds heavier on the scales in a couple months' time? Or actually starting to make money, actually starting to become successful in business, making money online, becoming financially free, freeing your parents, actually starting to build some respect for yourself, and then you can actually achieve stuff. Which one is more important? The slightly heavier weight in a couple of months, or actually starting to become an entrepreneur like you've always wanted to? It's the entrepreneurship, isn't it? And so cutting out carbs, yes, it will negatively affect your gym progress, but it's for the better, okay? You have to make sacrifices. So hopefully you're convinced to have a high-fat, low-carb diet now. Hopefully I've taught you that it is actually better, and hopefully you've gone against the beliefs that like society puts on you that like having carbs is really good and having bread and pasta is really good for you and that having loads of fat is bad for you. Hopefully those beliefs have been rid from your mind. Now you might be thinking, okay, we've got the keto bit down. What about carnivore? Well, it's the Keto-Carnivore diet because you're on keto, you're on the keto diet, but then you're also kind of on the carnivore diet at the same time, but not fully. So my diet right now is probably about 70% meat, for example. And now you might be asking, okay, why do you need so much meat in your diet? And it's simply just because warriors eat meat. Okay, it sounds kind of stupid, but warriors eat meat. Meat is just like, it's the food of a warrior. Okay, it's the food of a predator. All right, do you want to be a predator or a herbivore? Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be a little vegan or a fucking meat eater? What do you want to be? Obviously, you want to be a meat eater. And so carnivore is simply just better, okay? Like I said before, I'm eating probably about 70% meat at the moment, but if you can increase that and make it even more, maybe even 100% carnivore, then that's going to actually help you. Now, what actually will you be eating? Now, I've got a list on my phone here, so I'm going to read it off because I won't be able to remember everything in my head. And so meat, obviously you're going to eat a lot of meat, mostly red meat, because red meat actually has a lot more nutrients, and lots of eggs. I try and have about 8 to 10 eggs per day, and eggs actually increase testosterone too. I'm pretty sure it's scientifically proven, but I've actually noticed this myself. It's like I've tried so many different things to actually increase testosterone and stuff. None of them have actually found. You probably can relate to me the same. Like, you've probably tried a few things to increase testosterone and everything, but then you actually haven't felt any results with any of them at all. Let me tell you, eating more eggs, 8 to 10 eggs per day, 10 eggs a day ideally, you actually noticed a massive boost in your testosterone with that. You will physically feel the rise in testosterone. You'll feel more manly. You'll feel more disciplined, more motivated to do stuff. You'll feel more driven. And then there's low-carb vegetables. So I'll have a list on the screen, but stuff like broccoli, cauliflower, courgette, spinach, onion, but you can just ask ChatGPT for some low-carb veg, and I'll probably have a few other on screen with their like grams of carbs per 100 grams. And then I also have fruit, and you might be panicking, being like, oh, what, but fruit has fructose in, fruit has sugar in and everything. And yes, fruit does have sugar in. Fruit actually does have a pretty high amount of fructose in. Fructose is a type of sugar. It's sugar for fruit, fructose fruit, you understand? Now, I only have fruit before I work out, and that goes by the theory that when you digest this, when you digest the fruit, yeah, all the carbs, all the sugar gets released into your body. And now because I'm exercising just after I eat this, essentially my muscles will use up all this glucose, all this sugar before it manages to reach my brain, which essentially means I get the benefit of having all the energy from the carbs without actually having the negative effect of having the sugar and the glucose go to my head. I'll usually only have like 100 to 200 grams of fruit, and even then that isn't really much. That's only like 20 grams of carbs at the very most. And I'll have a list of like other fruits that I have. You can really have like any fruit in general, but low carb fruits are generally better because then you can control how much carbs you're having. Also, cooking butter, not oil. So seed oils, vegetable oils, like stuff like that that's made from grains. It sounds crazy, but seed oils, which all this stuff is, it massively decreases your testosterone and your like general health. And so you basically want to avoid seed oils as much as possible. And with drinking stuff, I only drink water and full fat milk. And obviously the main things to avoid are processed foods. I'm like generally like brown foods. So stuff like bread, pasta, grains, cereal, biscuits, stuff like that. And you also want to avoid like ultra processed foods like chemicals and other stuff like that. And yeah, try and avoid grains because obviously grains, seed oils, very highly related. And so how do you start on this diet? You know that you want to go on this diet, you know what this diet actually is. How do you start it? If you can afford it and your parents are good with it, I'll say just go for it. You can go to the shop literally right now. You can pause this video, go to the shop literally right now, get some red meat, get some eggs, get like low carb vegetables, get all that stuff and just start eating it, okay? I don't recommend creating a meal plan right at the very start. I more recommend just like buying some stuff for a week, like buying it as you need it, if that makes sense, and just seeing how it goes like that. Because that'll give you a much better understanding of how much you actually eat, because it's surprising how much meat you actually eat. Like I've eaten like a whole chicken in one sitting before. And if your parents aren't okay with you going on this diet, all I'll say to do is to try and make a compromise with them. Try and just tell them, okay, mum, dad, there's this diet I want to try and go on, okay? It basically, you have more eggs, you have more meat and everything, and you just have less carbohydrates. And it's supposed to make your brain better, and it's supposed to make you just feel better in general. Tell them that. Don't ask to go like full keto-carnivore right at the very start. Just say, okay, I just want to try this diet out, and I want to just do it a little bit, okay? So do that. And then after a couple of days, when you start feeling results of just getting on this diet for a bit, you can be honest with them and you can say, mum, dad, this diet's really, really helped me. I feel so much better. Can I go on it a bit more and just try it out a bit more? And then they might be like, okay. And then basically you can just slowly get into the diet more and more and like make them realize that this diet is actually good for you. And if you can't afford it, / your parents buy all your food for you, then you really just have two options. And the first one is to ask your parents, okay, try and convince them to buy it for you. Try and convince them to basically just let you get on this diet fully and make them support you in it. Or the second option, which is the option I did, and that's to just pay for it all yourself, okay? Start making money and pay for it all yourself. Obviously, I've only started this diet once I'm making like a pretty decent amount online. But if you're not there yet, then what you can do is simply just like try and do chores for your parents or stuff like that. Or maybe even get like a small job after school that you could do to pay for it. At the very, very most, and it shouldn't even reach this, you can easily make it a lot cheaper. You can easily get it for like £100 a week. That's like $120 or like 110 euros, I think. That's like the upper bracket of what you could spend on it, really, realistically. You can go a lot cheaper. If you condense stuff down, you can really get it a lot cheaper, but that's like a general price. And obviously that's for like UK meat prices. No, like in Norway, like meat can be really, really expensive there, and other places like meat can be really cheap. Chicken is generally the cheapest meat, I find, in most places. Chicken is generally the cheapest, then it's pork, and then it's beef, and obviously like steak and stuff is the most expensive. And obviously when you get past that, you get into like lamb and stuff like that, which is way more expensive. But I'd say you can survive mostly off chicken, beef and pork. But at this point right now, with money or your parents being the constraint, that's the point that most people get stuck at. Okay, most people that are trying to get on this diet, that's the point that most people get stuck at. Now what you need to do is to simply just carry on pushing through. Okay, carry on pushing through, carry on going for it. Okay, don't give up on it. Don't forget about this diet, because this diet will really, really help you. And so don't forget about it. You might be stuck right now. You might be stuck not being able to get on this diet right now. All I want you to do is to carry on pushing, carry on going for it. Because what most people will do, they'll try and get on this diet, they'll make an attempt at it, and then they can't, okay, and they'll struggle with it, they'll reach some hardship, all right, and then they'll simply just give up on it, and they'll forget about it, and those people won't succeed. But for you, because I know you can do this, you just have to carry on pushing, carry on trying to get on this diet. And don't make any excuses saying, yeah, but my specific circumstance means I can't go on this diet. Don't say that to yourself, because it is possible for you to go on it. It's harsh to hear, but you are nothing special. You can go on this diet if you try hard enough. Don't subtly lie to yourself and just subtly say in your brain to yourself that you can't do it, because you can do this, okay? You can get on this diet. You just have to keep pushing for it, keep pushing for it. So, what will you notice after starting this diet? The first thing you'll probably notice after about a day is your poo. I never thought I'd be fucking talking about poo on a self-improvement YouTube channel. I'll try and go over this quickly, but basically for the first week, you'll poo way less, and they'll be a lot more solid, and it is possible you could get constipated, all right? And if you do like find you get constipated, just eat a bit more carbs, maybe like go up to 100 grams of carbs a day maybe, and just try that out until you don't get constipated, and slowly decrease your carbs as your body gets adjusted to it. But after about a week, this like constipation slash, you probably won't get constipated, I'm just saying, but it is a small possibility. This like hard poo-ness, if that makes sense, that'll go away after about a week. And that's just as your body adjusts, and after that, it'll be back to normal pooing. Bro, I swear, if someone fucking clips me, like makes a clip of this bit of me talking about poo, I'm gonna be annoyed. After about 2 days of being on this diet, that's when you'll really start to feel the lack of brain fog. You'll feel more mentally clear, your mental health will be better, you'll just feel like a generally better human being. And guess what? You'll be able to focus way, way, way better. And then after about a week, you'll start feeling like a superhuman. You'll feel like you could do anything. You'll feel like you could go run a marathon. You'll feel like you'll be able to just sit down and work so well. Your focus will be like 10 times better, 100 times better. I'm not even joking. My focus, my work rate is genuinely like 10 times. And then with the age, you'll feel that like testosterone rise after about 2 weeks, I'd say. That's what happened for me. I felt it after about 2 weeks. And what I'm about to say is gonna sound really cringe, but what it makes you feel like, it kind of like this alpha male, like Chad kind of guy, if that makes sense, like more masculine, where you just feel like motivated and driven to basically just work. You're never like a pussy, if that makes sense. You never pussy out of doing anything. You just always feel up for the challenge. You always feel up to challenge yourself and go to higher lengths. It is so good for motivation. And then after that, there isn't really much change. Hopefully you're on this diet for life, and hopefully these changes stick with you long term. You will now permanently have better health, better longevity, better focus, better mental health, better productivity, all because of the diet. Now, if you got to the end of this video, I like you, bro. And that's because it shows you are actually serious about your journey. You might have not made much progress on your business or on making money yet. And if you haven't, I do not blame you, because I know how hard it actually is. Because I was only where you are just months ago. Now, it is my mission to basically help you, to make sure you actually become successful, to make sure you get to the point where I'm right now, making money online, enjoying life, living life. That is my mission. And I have a paid program to make sure that you get there. I am 15 right now. I'm making a pretty decent amount, 1.5 grand per month online. I'm in the position that you want to be in. And so it'd be logical, right, for you to actually get help from me to actually start making progress in your own business. I've already helped so many guys make their first dollar, make their first money online. I've got guys who genuinely have like 50 subscribers on YouTube, and they're making hundreds of dollars per month off their channels. I've had one guy partially quit his 9-to-5 job because he's making enough with online business now. I'm not some random guy on the internet trying to sell you a product. I'm here to help you because it is my mission to make sure you actually succeed. And if I'm being honest, bro, it's kind of selfish, but my true motivator, my true drive is that I get a really, really good feeling when I see that I'm actually helping you. When I see you make results, when I see my other guys make results and actually become successful, I get such a good feeling because I know that I've helped you to get there. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I have this mission, and that's why I have my program. So if you want to get direct one-on-one coaching with me, direct one-on-one help from me in my program, so I can teach you actually how to make money with my exact business model of selling a product to your audience. That's what I teach, by the way. Selling a product to your audience is kind of overpowered right now. And all I'm going to tell you to do is to simply just go click that top link in the description and go join my program. Go buy my coaching, because it will help you, and you have to invest in your future if you actually want to start making progress. I hope this video served you well, bro. I really enjoyed making this one. I hope you get on the diet, bro. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. See you, bro.